What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is May 1st. Happy May Day to all of y'all out there. May 1st, entering the Cinco de Mayo weekend coming up, Cleveland. That means there's big boxing to talk about, fights to talk about. That means May. What does that mean, Cleveland, in the NBA world? What does that mean, Cleveland?
Oh, man. Welcome to the second round. Let's see what's really going on.
Cleveland got to break it down. He came up with this bogus article. We touched on it last week. What kind of categories? Usual suspects, young guns, and legends, and gods, or something like that, something to that effect. But Cleveland, we have some people emerging. Some people have moved into a new block over this past week of basketball action.
Did they, Cam?
You're gonna have to tell me. Because we got some people who's moving along, and you're gonna have to adjust to either one. You're gonna have to adjust this little
Well, let's see where some adjustments have to be made.
You have to adjust this criteria you have.
Adjustments have to be made, Cameron. That's what the NBA playoffs is all about.
Again, we're gonna bring it up.
I haven't seen too many adjustments, but let's go over your predecessor.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into that, and we're gonna get into it, and I can't wait. We're gonna to poke holes and shoot darts.
Me either.
We're not even throwing darts no more, Cleveland. You know we're throwing hatchets. You know we're throwing axes from across the room.
We're throwing haymakers. Yeah, man. Go get your Haitian machete out, man. Go get it.
So we're gonna talk about these guys that have to be moving along in Cleveland's criteria ranking. We're gonna talk about that. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna shout out to Cleveland and put together. I call it bogus because it was a bunch of hypotheticals and what ifs and all this stuff. But it's on Voice of the Fans, voiceofthe.org. Voiceofthe.org. It's the criteria. What's the title of it, Cleveland?
What it takes to win an NBA championship.
And then he breaks it down pretty thoroughly. But I'm gonna poke holes into that. We're gonna get into that, Cleveland. But it was the NFL draft last weekend. We didn't have our Sunday special. So the first time I'm talking to Cleveland, and we're gonna talk about what his Seahawks did in the draft. We're gonna talk about if he likes what the Seahawks did in the draft. We're gonna talk about his coach if he likes his coach's feedback. I got some feedback from my Dolphins. I got some feedback for the Chargers. I got some feedback for a lot of NFL teams. What did the Cowboys do? For those Cowboy fans out there, what did those Cowboys do in the draft? So we're going to talk about that as well. We got a lot to get to, fans, each and every week. What's up, Barry? Happy Wednesday, everybody. We got a lot to get to, fans, but how we start every show, start a little montage. We're going to get this show started just like this.
Am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name is Cameron.
Cam Buford.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. I'm hanging on my man Cameron Buford right here.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Talk about that loyalty for a moment.
I'm staying there to try to make a change. Give back to the youth, give back to my community and show them that there is hope that you can make it out. Only thing is you just got to be dedicated. You got to keep your head down and stay on this course that you're heading towards.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter. The fighter works for the promoter.
Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with him?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
On your team, his ball number is number 2 option or your number 3 option? On your team's team. 30 nights a year, he's my number 1 option. 30 nights.
Can I finish?
Right now?
Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me? Which one?
What do you think about this upcoming?
Like I was saying before.
Every game's a new game, so
each one's a different experience, different defense, different players, different game plan. So,
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Or can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the Fan
Oh my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
Real ones know what's going on, right? Like you said, Pacific Northwest. So, I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy
Yeah,
for the whole
Ken, nobody.
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
Look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
Real surprised at that, Ken.
Hey, come here. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A little bit of history, man. I need to redo that history. But shout out Snoop. What up? Shout out Snoop. We got a rap beef that we're gonna get into. What up, Snoop? My dog. Cleveland be hating on you, man. Cleveland be hating.
Yeah, cut that out, man. Cut that out. Yeah, we'll pull the tape out.
Fans, like I said, man, thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. We're gonna get into the NBA playoffs. We're gonna talk an NFL draft here in a little bit. We got some boxing talk. We got a segment, fans. We're gonna. It's not even an introduction segment, but it feels like an introduction because we don't get to talk about them too often. We're gonna have a Mariners minute tonight. We're gonna, celebrate the Mariners, and it looks like the T-Mobile has pushed off the Metro League, taking over T-Mobile Stadium and down in Soto. What do they call it? Soto, right? The South Downtown. So we're gonna talk about the Mariners a little bit, fans. Believe it or not, we only talk about them when they're above 500, and tonight's one of those nights. So, fans, thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 290, Cleveland. 290. This is May 1st, Cleveland. So, when you think of the number one, Cleveland, for May 1st, who wore that jersey number the best? Who come to your mind first?
Cam, just because I'm feeling so nostalgic with regards to the playoffs, kind of taking place. And, when I first got my, sea legs, so to speak, with regards to NBA playoff basketball, I got to think of Gus Williams as a first person to come to mind. Who wore it the best would be Oscar Robertson.
Big old Ozzie Smith? No Ozzie Smith in there?
No, I would go with Oscar over Ozzie.
Okay. Cleveland, and I'm right there with you with Gus Williams. I mean, he's the first person to come to my mind as he was instrumental in the Sonics going to back-to-back NBA Finals and actually win it in 1991. You forgot Warren Moon though.
79, Playboy.
What did I say? Excuse me. 78 and 79. They went to the finals, 78, 79, but you forgot Warren Moon. You left Warren Moon off your list.
No, I mean it was tough to leave him off because he is so influential with regards to being a pioneer for the black quarterback, and there were so many doing so many great things that he certainly shouldn't be dismissed or left off. But who comes to mind first and who wore it the best?
Like he went to the UW.
He most certainly did. 5 championships with the Edmonton Eskimos, and then a illustrious career down here in the NFL with the the Houston Oilers and the Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Seattle Seahawks. So most definitely, much respect to Warren.
Yeah, too bad we didn't see Warren come in right out of college into the NFL. But, it might have been running shoot offense a few years earlier had he come right in the game, right?
For sure.
When you think of the number 90, Cleveland, who wore their jersey number the best, or who come to your mind first?
Who comes to mind first is the most dominant defensive player I've ever seen play college football, and that being Steve Entman. And then who wore it the best is probably Julius Peppers, who, as we've talked about on this show many times, I thought should have went to the NBA and just been the most dominant rebounder that's ever been. But at the same time, a Hall of Fame career playing football. So I'm going to go with Julius.
You have Steve Entman as the most dominant defensive lineman?
Yeah. I mean, Ndamukong Suh is a very close second. But, yeah, no, I've never seen anything like Steve.
So you didn't see Reggie White at Tennessee? You didn't see Warren Sapp at my University?
I saw both of those. They were not nearly as dominant as Steve Entman in his Outland Trophy winning number 1 pick in the draft season.
Was he? I mean, you struck a nerve there. Was he? He was more dominant than I mean, rest in peace, Rodgers. I can't. Reggie Rodgers.
Yeah, he was more dominant than Reggie Rodgers for sure.
What, you had a class with him or something? What gives?
No, I watched him play every single game that he played in his junior and senior year. He was the most dominant defensive lineman I've ever seen. And Dominic was a close second, and I believe, what do you say, Warren Sapp? I mean, those guys are, Warren Sapp is probably a tier below, but that would be 1 and 2 for me. You said Reggie White at Tennessee, he was quite dominant, but
and then when those drugs were off in the NBA or NFL, excuse me, it was a little bit different story, huh?
Cam, I didn't say all that. You said like,
I mean, we don't have to. If you remember Steve Entman, it was a drastic difference between his college career and his NFL career, right? After those first few weeks in the NFL, we saw real quickly that there may have been some what do they say? Added supplements to his game, right?
Cam, I can't say that 100% for sure. All I'm going to say is, yeah, no comment.
No comment. Spoken like a true Husky.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. Yeah, I don't really.
Spoken like a true Husky.
Man,
hey guys, something's wrong with my computer. Forgive me, man. I don't know what the deal is with my computer, but I have some technical difficulties over here. Cleveland. So we're right in the middle, right in the thick of things in round 1 in NBA playoffs. A couple teams advances. We're going to get to that, and we're going to get to poking holes in your argument real soon here. But I'd like to ask you, Cleveland, what is NBA playoffs so far? Is it the injuries, or is it the youth movement in the NBA?
The biggest story in the playoffs so far has been Anthony Edwards, man.
Oh, come on. All of a sudden now he wants to.
It's not all of a sudden. I told you this 2 years ago. What was happening?
See, fans. Okay, so Anthony Edwards all of a sudden. I don't think you had Anthony. I don't think you have Anthony Edwards in your top 5.
Why you saying all of a sudden? I've been saying it for quite a while.
Because in your top 5 NBA most valuable players, he was not in your list.
Okay.
And so now all of a sudden you want to recognize Anthony Edwards. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to have that argument with you right now. So Anthony Edwards is the biggest story. Again, I broke it down in 2 categories, Cleveland. Was it the injuries or was it the youth movement? You say Anthony Edwards, so it must be.
I guess it would be the youth movement. It must be the youth movement. If it's only one of 2 choices to make with regards to that, it would be the youth movement.
Okay, obviously it's not. I don't know what, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's not just Anthony Edwards. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I just can't move swiftly through things. Don't know what's going on. But it's But it's Anthony Edwards. He's not the only guy. I mean, the SGA, the OKC Thunder, obviously swept their opponent. The Minnesota Timberwolves obviously swept the Suns with Anthony Edwards doing his thing, playing. He's taking a notch up above the. He's taking a notch up in the playoffs above the regular season. You got the Pacers. I mean, they should have beat the Bucks the other night, but Pat Bev did something special, and we'll talk about that later. We got the Knicks is doing their thing. You know, the Knicks and the 76ers. Both of those teams are. I mean, Embiid is probably the oldest guy in the team, but what has he really done in the playoffs? I mean, he's still relatively new in the playoffs, right? So I said that kind of youth movement there, and then as they kind of pushed. The Nuggets pushed the Lakers out. We're gonna discuss that a little bit along the way. The Nuggets pushed the Lakers out. Steph Curry didn't make the playoffs.
Hey, Cam, I'm so sorry. Why you leave out the Prince of the 206, Paulo, and that youth movement?
Well, that series not done, and right now they're down. But we're gonna get into those.
No, they're not down. They're actually up 3-2.
Wait, hold on. Did I miss that? I thought they lost last night. That they lost to the Cavaliers. Did I miss that? My apologies, man. Actually, and thank you, Cleveland. Thanks for bringing that up because that's one of the series that I predicted an upset in that series. If you recall, that was
and that's why I was shocked that you let them out of the youth movement, considering that Apollo's in his second season.
Again, I had them. I got Cleveland. Cleveland's winning that series 3-2 right now. So that's why I didn't bring that up because. Because right now they're not winning and they still got to win. So, however, he's part of the youth movement again, as KD, LeBron James, Steph Curry kind of gets ushered out of the playoff purview. These young guys, SGA, as I mentioned, Anthony Edwards, the Pacers, their kind of youth movement with Halliburton. And Pascal Siakam, although Siakam, has a ring, he's not really a young guy, but he's not an old guy either. He's not one of those usual suspects, as you call them. The New York Knicks. So we're gonna, and when I bring up the Pacers, I bring up the Knicks specifically, and we got to talk about those 76ers. Cleveland, you have to explain to us real quick, as you have a criteria. You put out this criteria last week, and just let me touch on it real quickly. You have the criteria. What do you have? The rookies or the new young bloods?
The newcomers.
The newcomers, usual suspects, basketball legends, and what else?
Basketball gods.
Okay, so I'm assuming the only way you become a basketball god is if you win a ring, right?
Correct. Yes. Right.
So with that being said, Cleveland, what is Reggie Miller, Cleveland?
A basketball legend.
What is Karl Malone, Cleveland?
A basketball legend.
And what is Charles Barkley, Cleveland?
A basketball legend.
So neither one of those guys, Charles Barkley, who won the MVP single-handedly. Let me see if I can. Basketball gods are those players who can single-handedly put a team on their backs and carry them to the promised land. These players hang banners with MVPs, win MVPs, and are considered basketball royalty. In other words, that dude. So Charles Barkley single-handedly carried his Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals. No, he was only beat by the greatest player to ever play. He's not a basketball god. He's basketball royalty by anyone's measurements. Anyone else other than Cleveland, he's basketball anybody else other than Cleveland, he's basketball royalty.
This is why he is a basketball legend. Dream teamer, got his team to the NBA Finals at one time. Top 50 greatest. Yeah.
Do you guys see what I'm dealing with right here? You see how I just right here just shot holes all in this argument right there. A dream teamer by anyone's measurements, even the guys who played on the dream team said Charles Barkley was the face of that team. So gold medalist, NBA MVP. I think you're basketball gods. Those players who can single-handedly put his team on the back and carry him to the problem. I think Charles Barkley did that with the Phoenix Suns.
He actually didn't carry them to the promised land because they didn't win the actual NBA championship.
He got beat by the GOAT. He got beat by the greatest basketball player ever to play the game. Did he win the MVP? Did he win the MVP?
He certainly did, and that's
is he considered is he considered basketball royalty?
For sure.
So two or three elements, two or three of your criteria, he meets the criteria for being a basketball guy.
So what is the first part of that criteria? Someone that is able to carry their team across to the promised land.
No, don't change the word. I'm looking at the words right now. I'm looking at the word.
Read it again. Read it again for the fans.
These are those players who single-handedly put the
for the fans. What did they say?
And carry them to the promised land.
Okay.
Where were the Phoenix Suns before Charles Barkley joined the squad? Where were the Phoenix Suns?
He was not able to carry them to the promised land. That's unfortunate.
Just tell me, where were the Phoenix Suns before Charles Barkley joined the squad?
I mean, they weren't in the NBA Finals. That's for sure. But he wasn't able to carry them across to the promised land. It's unfortunate.
Did he win the MVP that season?
Sure did.
Is he considered basketball royalty by anyone's measurement?
Absolutely, he is.
But he's not that dude.
He's not a basketball god.
He's a what is he, Cleveland? What are you giving Charles Barkley?
He's a basketball legend.
These players, and this is his criteria, fans. These players have led their teams to the brink of an NBA championship, but have found a way to come up short. He has Charles Barkley, fans, listen to this. Listen to this, please listen. He has Charles Barkley, fans, in the same category as Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Fans, you guys see what I'm dealing with here.
And fans, why do I say that? Because he's accomplished the same level of success with regards to winning a championship that Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler have. As a matter of fact, Jimmy Butler has been to the NBA Finals 2 times. Charles Barkley only went once.
You should slap yourself, Cleveland. You should really slap yourself.
No, I will not.
You should slap.
This is my time of year, Cam. I guess gotta, tell it like it is. Aaron Neville style, man. Tell it like it is.
The usual suspects are those players who have multiple playoff appearances, but have never shown the ability to carry their team to the NBA to an NBA Finals. He has, fans, listen to this. He has Jalen Brunson, the New York Knicks, and Luka Doncic in the same category. So now, fans, now I'm questioning. No.
That's because you threw the laugh track on me. What makes them different?
You don't have the floor. We're not paying attention.
Excuse me.
Right now, the fans aren't paying attention to you because this is some BS that you're throwing to the fans, that you're spewing to the fans, and I just gotta again throw my hatchets across the room at this garbage that's posted on voiceofthefans.org. Man, you can read this article for yourself. Voiceofthefans.org, and it's titled "Criteria for Winning NBA Champion." And he's literally broken some categories down to say who's going to win a championship and who's not. And I just have to poke holes in this argument. Now, Cleveland, you have newcomers, Paolo Banchero, who you just want now. All of a sudden, you want to spew. You want to give him some credit because I asked you in December, I asked you in January, I asked you in February, I asked you in March. Cleveland, do you believe in the Orlando Magic? What have you told me every time? But now he gets his team to the playoff for the first year. You got him in the newcomer category. How is that possible?
Because he got his team to the playoffs for the first time. I mean, how are you not going to be a newcomer category? It has to be a first time for everybody, Cam. Next year, he'll be a usual suspect.
So all it takes is 2 times to get to the playoffs for you to be a usual suspect. So, Cleavon,
that's kind of hard to do.
My question right now, my question for you, Cleavon, and the fans are eager to hear this, Cleavon.
Okay. Hit me.
You have the usual suspect is Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
After what he's done and leading the New York Knicks to the brink of the second round playoffs, he's doing stuff, and I know how you worship the ground that Carmelo Anthony walks on. Doing stuff Carmelo Anthony has never done. 40 points.
He's doing stuff no New York Knick has ever done.
So what do you have?
Surpassing the great Bernard King.
Where do you have him? Where do you have Jalen Brunson on your list? He has to elevate on your list.
Man, he's the usual suspect for now, man. If he can get him past the 76ers, he might get to be a legend, but not quite just yet.
You see what I'm saying? So he's doing stuff that never has been done by the whole organization.
I know how you like stats, Cam, and stuff, like, because they kind of like try and paint your picture and all that. But right now, did you see game 3 and game 5?
Well, I saw game 5, and I saw Tyrese Maxey. I saw Tyrese Maxey give his mini Reggie Miller impression, hitting 7 points in 16 seconds or something like that. Where's Tyrese Maxey on your list?
Did you see Joel Embiid in game 3 come down the court and cash 3 straight times from the same spot and put a 50 burger on him? You see that?
You blaming Brunson for not stopping Joel
Embiid? I'm just asking if you saw the performance.
Are you blaming Brunson for not? I mean, you bring it up like that was Brunson's.
That series has a lot of individually great performances, man, and we're going into game 6.
And that's why you have to elevate these players. I started off by the show by saying
too soon. Series isn't even over. Why would I elevate them to anything? Those were 2 cool ass games.
Because, as you said it yourself, these players are doing stuff that's never been done by a franchise.
Man,
i.e., man, I'm poking holes in this argument. I'm poking.
You're not even poking holes in the argument. I mean, that was a cool game. He had a big game, but they're not even out of the first round. So why would I elevate his status?
He called it a cool game, and he got.
Okay, well, there's 2 games left. It's one in Philly, and if they lose that one, there's one in the Garden.
So okay, so you don't want to. Do you? So where is Jamal Murray? Where is Jamal Murray?
Murray,
he has to be a basketball guy.
Is the most important player in the NBA, as I said.
No. I don't. That's not one of your categories. That's not one of your criteria. Most important player.
Okay, so in the NBA. So my criteria? Is that what you're asking?
Once again, hold on. I'm reading these criteria. I'm sorry.
Basketball god.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I have to move on that one. Because at that one, you have to you reluctantly have to say that.
It's not even reluctant. He meets all of the criteria, so cut that out.
But you would say Jokic. You didn't mention his name when you went down this list here. Basketball gods are those who can single-handedly put their team on their back. Jokic isn't doing single-handedly, but you have Jokic's name, Giannis and Jokic listed. Are notable examples of the 2024 playoffs. Carry the team to the promised land. These dudes hang bang.
As I've said before,
Murray hasn't won an MVP. Murray hasn't won an MVP. Murray has not won an MVP, nor is he considered basketball royalty. So how does Murray elevate to the basketball? I want to hear you say it. I want to hear you say it. No. Please let me ask this question because the fans are eager to hear how you justify this this wording. Because again, by your definition, this is what you have in black and white on the internet. Anybody can go to voiceofthefans.org and listen and read these categories and see how you have a basketball god, These are those players who can single-handedly put their teams on their back and carry them to the promised land. Well, you have Giannis and Jokic as examples. Nikola Jokic isn't doing it by himself because he has Jamal Murray. These players hang banners, win MVPs. Jamal Murray hasn't won an MVP. And are considered basketball royalty. Jamal Murray isn't considered basketball royalty. So explain to the people, Cleavon, how you have Jamal Murray as a basketball god.
Well, Cam, clearly there are basketball gods by association. I mean, let's not second guess that. I mean, Scottie Pippen can't put a team on his back by himself, but I mean, teamed up with the likes of a Michael Jordan. Well,
so yeah. Pascal Siakam is the basketball god. Now, what you're going to explain to the fans?
By association, given what he was able to do with Kawhi. Yeah.
And so Kawhi Leonard has to be a basketball god by your own definition.
He absolutely is, and so unfortunate that he's not able to be out there on the court and demonstrate those abilities for the last 4 years.
So there's a caveat. You probably need to go back and update this article, Cleveland. So addendum. You can be a basketball god by associating yourself with a basketball god.
I mean, if you do incredible things in that role, for example, Kyrie Irving, in Game 7, basketball god by association. He probably is not able to do that on his own.
One game get you a basketball god.
Oh man, sometimes extraordinary performances like just single-handedly torching the Golden State Warriors. Yeah.
So when I say Tyrese Maxey deserved to be elevated, when I say Tyrese Maxey
in the history of the National Basketball Association.
So when I say Tyrese Maxey and Jalen Brunson needs to be elevated, why are you arguing with me?
It's because it's the first round.
Man, you gotta see what
it's the first round of the playoffs, Cameron. Why would I do that in the first round?
You guys see what I'm dealing with over here? Please go read this article.
We don't even know if either one of those players is going to win the series. Jalen Brunson, for all his heroics,
one of them has to win the series.
Round.
They're playing each other. One of them has to win the series.
Right. Which one are you leaning on, Cam?
I think I picked Brunson in that series.
Oh, really? I think we'll see what's up in Game 7 if it gets that far.
So where's Reggie Miller?
I would be concerned for your New York Knicks. Please get it in 6. Please get it in 6.
Wow. So looking at these playoffs, the Thunder, they squeaked by the Pelicans, man. Really no surprise there, right? That's kind of what we all anticipated.
No squeaking. I think you're trying to be facetious, but yeah, they beat them up real good.
I mean, it was a sweep. There's no squeaking a sweep. It was a sweep. I stand corrected. It was a sweep. I think it was with the Pelicans' best man not available. This was to be expected. We're learning that Brandon Ingram has some issues. He can't lead the team. CJ Cleveland gives him a hearty excuse, but he can't lead the team. Herb Jones can't do it alone. Trey Murphy takes the worst shots in the NBA. And they were just.
We don't need to go into all of the deficiencies of the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, there's no need for all of that. Yeah,
fair enough. Fair enough. The Thunder,
the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, is moving on to the second round. Great.
Well, I mean, you want to go into the deficiencies of the Los Angeles Lakers and why they only were able to win one game against the defending champions?
I mean, 2 of those games came down to the last shot. I mean, if Jamal Murray misses those 2 jumpers, I mean, it's a 3-2 series going the other way, right?
If he misses, I mean, he knocked him down. That's why he's a basketball god, Cleveland. That's why he's a basketball god, right? So what are you talking about?
Absolutely. So what are we talking about here?
We're talking about the Lakers going home at winning one game.
Right.
1 out of 11 the games. The last one. 1 out of 12.
All of the games were very, very close, and they lost to the defending NBA champions with the player on the roster that's probably the MVP of the league. No shame in that.
No shame in that. So you're running back next year? So you're running. So you're running.
Oh, no, we'll make some tweaks.
Darvin Ham. You're bringing up Darvin Ham back. Are you bringing Darvin Ham back?
We'll make some tweaks and revisions, and we'll go from there.
Are you bringing Darvin Ham back? That's
I don't make those decisions. That's up to Jeannie and Rob. I don't make those decisions.
Speaking of Jeannie, I'm glad you brought Jeannie up. I'm glad you brought Jeannie up because there's a couple questions that need to be answered. Number one, I like to know. The fans would like to know. Cleveland, have you got the release date for Jeannie Buss's biopic?
It's mid 2025, Cam.
Oh, 2025. Oh,
don't tell nobody.
Okay. Will Bronny James be on the Lakers at that point?
Quite possibly.
So that means that LeBron's not going nowhere.
No.
So this hubbub about him trying to win a fourth championship with the fourth team is ludicrous.
Ludicrous.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I mean, since you had the inside scoop, what changes need to take place for you guys to try to? I mean, will LeBron win another championship with the Lakers?
It depends on the health of other individuals, within the team. It depends on the moves that Rob Pelinka is, able to make in this offseason.
Sneaky Russell, you relying on Sneaky Russell's health?
No.
I mean, Rui, you're blaming Rui now? You're blaming Rui? Austin Reeves?
All I'm gonna say is, and you didn't hear it from me because I'm not one to gossip, but the roster will look a little bit different next year.
I mean, are you getting rid of Snitchy or what? Tell the truth.
I can't divulge any of that information right now, Cam. It's way too early. We're still in the playoffs, so.
That didn't sound like a ringing endorsement for Mr. Snitchy Russell.
I've never ringingly endorsed the point guard, so it's no different than any other time.
Rui, are you disappointed in Rui now?
Oh, absolutely.
Now you're gonna have all of Japan after you because Rui, the first Japanese-born player to be drafted into the NBA. So now you're down on Rui, and you're gonna have all of Japan after you now.
No, all of Japan saw the same thing I saw, so it's not like
they saw Rui giving it his all
or anything. I mean, what are we talking about here?
They saw Rui giving it his all, doing the best he could to defend Nikola Jokic.
Was that movie Almost Famous? Yeah, like he was almost good, like almost like there.
Timberwolves sweep the Suns. I mean, we talked about it when this team at the beginning of the season when this team was put together. Didn't expect much from the Suns. I didn't expect them to make it to the 6th seed in the Western Conference. They had a good run the last week of the season to get out of the play-in tournament, and only to get smacked up by Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards looked like he's ready. Looked like he's playoff ready, man. Fans, I had him. I thought he definitely deserved to be. I had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards leading the MVP race. In the MVP, it was two guys, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards in my MVP race. I don't have Cleveland's noted, but that's what I have noted right here. Obviously, Luka had a heck of a season. Nikola Jokic had a heck of a season. Giannis had a heck of a season. But Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were competing for the number 1 seed in the toughest division in the West or in the NBA. That to me alone deserved MVP criteria to be put in that category. Anthony, if you want to say Karl Anthony Towns is the best player on is one of the best players that Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best players that Anthony Edwards is playing with. He was out for half the season. Rudy Gobert was that guy. Nobody considered Rudy Gobert as one of the top players. One of the top players in the league. He was in the argument for defensive player of the year, sure enough. But Anthony Edwards has kind of, I don't want to say drug that team because there's, they had some competent players out there helping them along the way, but he certainly was a leader of that team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and what he's able to do with the OKC Thunder, the youngest team in the NBA, and he's their go-to guy. So what he's able to do with those guys, in my opinion, made him MVP worthy. And I don't understand why a lot of people wanted to disagree with that. But we saw what the Timberwolves were. I mean, the Suns were disappointing. So what do you do with an opponent you're supposed to beat, Cleveland? What are you supposed to do with the opponent?
You don't play with your food, and you put them to bed. You put them to rest.
He tucked the Suns in nicely, put them to sleep, and everybody now have questions about KD and Bill and Booker. I mean, that's another thing we learned, that Booker is not that dude. And they miss Chris Paul. You don't want to hear that. You're not gonna like that feedback, but they miss Chris Paul. They miss the table setter, and that's what Chris Paul was for the Phoenix Suns. And it showed their head. It showed their head. If you guys disagree, look at their season and look what he was and look at the Golden State Warriors when he actually played with the Golden State Warriors, how that situation played out. Anything else you want to add about that series? The Timberwolves smacking down the Suns?
Just that it is unfortunate, and this is the cruel part of the business, Cam, is that Anthony Edwards wants it, and he wants it right now, but the league has not recalibrated itself so that he can actually be a force or a factor with regards to who wins the NBA championship. And like I have been saying for several weeks, unfortunately, all of that bravado and athleticism gets you the defending NBA champions in the second round, and they will not win that series.
Before we move on to the series, Cleveland, where do you have Kevin Durant ranked in your criteria?
Basketball god.
So that single-handedly dragging your team to the NBA, to the promised land. I mean, did he single-handedly do that for Golden State Warriors?
Last I checked, he was a two-time NBA Finals MVP, two-ring bearer.
Again, I'm going off you. Hey, you don't have to get so defensive with me. These are your words, sir. These are your words. When you say specifically, these are those players who can single-handedly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And yeah, he has been the league MVP. So, I'm sorry. And he is one of the 75 greatest players ever played basketball. So why are you questioning? Why were you questioning whether or not he met the criteria? That was weird.
Because it specifically says in your category 4, these are those players who can single-handedly put their team on the back and carry them to the promised land. That's what you said. Those are your words. That's why if I understand you correctly, that's the same exact reason you don't have Charles Barkley as a basketball god.
Charles Barkley won a championship. Kevin Durant's won too, and been the NBA Finals MVP.
What did he single-handedly carry his team? Did he single-handedly carry his team to the promised land? That's all I'm asking you, Cleveland.
He will tell you that for sure.
No, he wouldn't tell you that. He would be lying to you if he told you that. But this is the flaw. This is the flaw in your argument.
That's why he's not in Golden State right now, because he feels that he was the reason that they won those 2 championships, and he wasn't getting his just due.
He was the Finals MVP.
Back to back.
He was a league MVP.
And he did win league MVP. Yes.
Did he my question to you was, did he single-handedly carry the the Golden State Warriors to the NBA Finals? That's my question to you.
If it came down to it, he probably could have done that.
See, you're not answering the question, man. See, this is what I get, Mr. Deflect Trump here.
What am I deflecting here?
I asked you the first category 4. Let me repeat this, fans. You guys should know this by verbatim by now. Category 4, the basketball gods. These are those players who can single-handedly put a team on their backs and carry them to the promised land. My question for you is, did Kevin Durant single-handedly carry the Golden State Warriors to the promised land?
Depends on who you ask. If you ask Kevin Durant, he certainly did.
There you go, man. You guys see it. He just refuses to answer the question. He just refuses to answer the question. I mean, and shame on him. Shame on him for deflating and
ducking. If you ask Kevin Durant, he certainly did, which is why he's not.
I'm asking you, Cleveland. I'm asking you.
Credit with
I'm asking. I'm doing a show. If I was doing a show with Kevin Durant, I'd ask Kevin Durant. But I'm doing the show with Mr. Cleveland Steele, the one who came up with this farcical category ranking, and I'm asking you about the categories, but you refuse to answer the question. I have a direct question about your categories, and you refuse. You're ditching and dodging, just like Trump does, just like your former president ditches and dodges and deflects the question.
What am I ditching and dodging?
The question I'm asking you, I'll give you one more time. I know, fans, I'm sorry to be so redundant, but I'm asking one more time. I want to see if I can get a straight answer from this guy, and I can't seem to do it. I'm asking you one more time. Your criteria states, category 4, the basketball god. These are those players who can single-handedly put a team on their backs and carry them to the promised land. My question for you, Cleveland, is did Kevin Durant single-handedly carry the Golden State Warriors to an NBA championship?
I believe he did do that in 18.
This guy is hysterical. Again, fans, you can see this article. Check out voiceofthefans.org. You can see Cleveland's category and his rankings and his criteria for winning NBA championship on voiceofthefans.org. Just click on the sports news section. You can see this article. You can see what I'm debating with you over here and why I can't get a straight answer. It's because I know it kind of hurts him when I'm poking holes in his argument. I know it's kind of, he takes a personal offense to it when I'm taking the axe and just chopping it up. It's understandable. It's understandable.
This is my wheelhouse and not yours, Cam. And I know you have to kind of drudge, here or there to kind of,
I believe the fans are with me. I believe the fans are with me as far as this argument goes.
It's not so cold-blooded, fans. I mean, it's when you read it, you'd be like, wow.
I believe the fans are with me because again, you duck the dodge. You spent 10 minutes dodging my question.
That's a wow factor, fans. That you'd be like, wow. I know he's won the NBA championship this year. It's painfully obvious.
I don't think it's so obvious, but we're gonna get to it. You say that.
Okay, you want to get chummy about it?
Well, who do you have winning?
I will take the Denver Nuggets, and Cameron can have the field.
Oh, you gonna give me the field?
Give you the field.
Oh, done deal. I'll take the field. I'll take. So that means I got OKC. I got OKC, the Clippers.
You have everyone else, and I have the Denver Nuggets. Are we good?
What's the deal?
Two of those. Two of those. Chummy.
Two, buddy.
2 times. Okay.
Here we come. And I just this week, fans, I just so you know, I just gave up eating meat. I'm on an all vegetable diet. I'm on, we'll
get you some greens and macaroni then, or if there's an alternative place that you want to go, Cameron, that's fine too. But I'm going to the Rib Shack. I'm going over here either to Pete's Barbecue or
not on my dime. not on my dime.
Excuse me?
Just as I said, not on my dime. I have the field. You just gave me the field versus the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, but I'm going to win.
Barely, by your own definition, by your own admission, barely beat the Lakers, if not for Jamal Murray, 2 knockdown jumpers. One in your guy's face. I believe he knocked it down in your AD face, right? AD fell all onto the Nuggets bench and they celebrating all around. That was pretty funny. That was a pretty funny shot right there. So let's talk about this series here, the number 4 series and the number 5. Clippers, number 4 Clippers against the number 5 Dallas Mavericks. Fortunately, I was in the house to see games 3 and 4. I saw Kyrie go off. Kyrie hit him for 19 in the second quarter, or excuse me, the second half of game 3. That was Kyrie. Kyrie's that dude. Kyrie's that dude. Kyrie is that dude. And then he virtually, they were down 31. The Clippers had them down 31 in game 4. Kyrie single-handedly, he had 40 in that game, and a couple of them 3-pointers almost broke down the house. I mean, they almost set the house on fire. I was reaching for the extinguisher because Kyrie was hitting net the way his jumper went off and hit that net. I was to set the building on fire. I was certainly making sure I knew where the extinguisher was in that game. They're playing right now. In fact, the Dallas Mavericks are up 43-37 on the Los Angeles Clippers, the Kawhi-less Los Angeles Clippers, with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, or excuse me, in the second quarter, with Paul George just splitting the defenders, getting right to the rack. So these guys are going at it, man. This is easily one of the more entertaining series in the first rounds. Again, it's a 4 or 5 matchup. This is kind of what you expect, but here's Paul George going to work, and passes out. My man, T-Man, I love you, T. I love you, Terrence, but he just hesitates too damn much, Cleveland. You've heard me talk about this dude for years now. He just hesitates. The ball gets swing. He gets him, and he just hesitates like he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, Terrence, man, this is your 6th year in the league. Put the ball up. Put it up, Terrence. And he is watching it in person. It's become frustrating. Derek Lively goes to the bench right now with 4 fouls. Zoo's at the free throw line to give them to narrow the lead to 1 point, 43-42. And just like that, the Clippers, with just over 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, narrowed the lead to 1 point game. And here comes Luka.
Did you say Lively had 4 fouls?
3 fouls. Just went to the bench with 3 fouls.
A little misinformation there, fan. So sorry.
Did I say 4? Ooh, Derek Jones. What are you trying to do? Who is this? Oh, Gafford. Gafford trying to dunk from the dotted line on Zoo. We're not having that. Not in LA. Gafford, what are you thinking? Zoo hit him with 1 arm. He should have smacked him with 2 arms. What are you trying to do, Gafford? Again, it's a 1 point game for just over 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. But this is the most exciting series in the game. Just being in the house. Kawhi, game 3. Kawhi was hurting the Clippers. Couldn't defend anybody. I think he had the most turnovers in the game. It was still a close matchup. They didn't get ran out the gym, but Kawhi just the knee just isn't responding, is what he said. And they asked, well, why go out there? He said, I want to play. I mean, I give it up to Kawhi in that respect. You want to get out there and perform for your team, but he was hurting the team. They played without him in game 1. I thought game 2, I probably would have once they won game 1 by the margin that they won game 1. I probably would have sat him game 2 and just like, okay, we kind of still a game because you have home court advantage is not the proper term, fans. I get it. But the way you won game 1, if you come back without Kawhi and you happen to lose game 2 without Kawhi, that gives you some reassurance that, okay, if we get Kawhi back, we should be dominating the series. However, they played Kawhi, they lost the game. Game 3, you have a little bit more time to rest in. They play Kawhi. They lose that game as well. They come back in game 4 without Kawhi on Sunday. they go up by 30 in the second quarter. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on that situation, Cleveland?
Yeah, Cam, it's pretty clear to me. Dallas is going to win this series. It's unfortunate for a lot of different reasons. I mean, Paul George certainly had a heroic effort that one game where he put up a lot of points in the first half and was really able to contribute and kind of establish his presence of authority for a little, for a brief moment. James Harden at times, for 10 or 15 minutes here or there has looked like a former NBA MVP. Same with Russell Westbrook, so we can't take anything away from him either. Certainly a lot of enthusiasm and emotion, which the Clippers need. Zubac has been,
it's hurting him. It's hurting him to say anything favorable.
It's been a presence down low, so he's been able to contribute as well. Sometimes like 3 and 4 baskets at a time. So I haven't seen Bones Highland, kind of come in and do his thing. I know you was always a big fan of Bones Highland. So
well, you want to see Bones? You want to take out?
I haven't seen that just yet. I was just waiting.
Who do you want to take out to get Bones?
Hey, Cam, slow down, man. I'm just saying, like you always have been so high on Bones Highland. You're kind of being the difference. You're kind of being one of those players that can kind of get you over the hump. Haven't seen that just yet. So they're not going to win this series. They're going to lose in the first round. And I know it has Charles Barkley has alluded to. They're going to go into their new arena without any banners whatsoever. I know they were hoping for maybe a Western Conference champion.
That was a cold one by Charles.
So all they really have to go into the new places is a participation banners. Like we were up 3-1 that one time. We almost beat those guys that one time. So it's unfortunate. I wish Kawhi was healthy because, as I said, early in this, early this year, Cam, I thought that this was their best chance to win a championship. This is a championship caliber team with all their, players healthy and whatnot, and they're just not. So looks like they're going to lose in the first round. And then, some tough decisions be made.
Go get him. Go get him, T-Man. Go get him, T-Man. Luka and Kyrie showing their dominance in game 2 and 3. The Clippers, can't say they're a better team without Kawhi. That's absolutely nonsense. But they did win the 2 games without Kawhi, so we'll see how.
Again, I didn't see anything. I was looking for kind of like a moment where I kind of saw you, kind of letting Ty know, hey man, I'm not. I didn't back you guys, but how do you feel about that? I saw none of that.
No, well, we had a couple. No dinner. It's playoff time. The man's busy with his squad. No dinner.
That's true. But did you tell him face to face, man to man?
We had a couple post game conversations. Where I had to be frank and I had to tell him where I stood, and then he let me know. Well, you're betting against the wrong team, and like a man, I had to take it. I was like, okay, well. I'll see you when I see you. And
fans, Cameron Buford is telling you he did get in Ty Lue's face and said, you know what? I don't think your Clippers going to win this. I think the Mavs going to walk through this. So sorry.
Well, that wasn't exactly the exact terms I used, but I told him he's facing an uphill battle, especially without Kawhi Leonard. But right now it's tied up.
An uphill battle, man. Hey, buddy. Without your best player, I think you're fighting an uphill battle. Come on, man.
Oh my goodness. So the Heat lost their series. The Heat going home after winning one game.
You're fighting an uphill battle without your best player.
The Heat are going home. No, I don't care about one iota about that series there. The New York Knicks and the 76ers. This is a 2-7 series. 2-7. This is little chippier and little more.
No, it's not. Because Philadelphia was never supposed to be the 7th seed except for Joel Embiid missed 40 games.
Okay, so they are what they are. You are what your record says you are, and they were the 7th seed.
No, your record is not what your record says you are when the MVP of the league misses half the season.
So what were they then? What were they?
They were a team that lost a lot of games without the best player in the league, and now the best player in the league is back. And oh my gosh, it's 3-2 going back to Philadelphia, and the best player in the league already says, "Yeah, it wasn't cool with the way NYC just infiltrated our building and tried to make like it was a home game for them." Can Philadelphia stand up? Bet they stand up this next game. They're going back. They're going back to the Garden.
Yeah, I mean, shame on them. Do you need to get called out from Joel B for you guys to stand up in Philadelphia? Come on, I got videos. I got video. You guys just smashing the opposing team with the snowballs for 10 minutes before the dude has to be escorted out the building. But you let some New Yorkers from up the street come down and take over your building. Well, I mean, if this is football, if that was a Eagles fans, that there, how many arrests would there be? At the stadium. What's up, Boost? Thanks for tuning in.
Boost going down. Oh, I mean that's irrelevant. We're going back to Game 7. Going back to the Garden for Game 7.
So you got the 76ers winning this next game?
Oh, for sure.
Brunson kind of coughed up the last game, right?
Yeah, I watched all that.
He kind of coughed it up, made some uncharacteristic turnovers in overtime.
Oh, very, very un-Villanova-like, very un-Wildcat-like, yeah.
And you don't think he's ready to make amends for those?
He's tired. It's Game 6. He's tired. He's been carrying those guys. This is as far as he can go. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm just going to say that he's not going to get out of Philadelphia with a win. And so embrace all of that energy that Madison Square Garden.
So who's going to lead into it? Is it going to be Maxey or is it going to be Joel Embiid? Which one of the, what do you call them, newcomers or usual suspects? Because Joel Embiid, the recent MVP, couldn't even get a basketball legend. He couldn't even get on the list of listed the usual space. He couldn't even make
the list. He hasn't been past the second round. Why would he be a legend?
He's an MVP.
Yeah. So what?
You just gave me Kevin Durant is a basketball legend because he's an MVP, or a basketball god because he's an MVP.
No, because he's a 2-time NBA champion and he's a 2-time finals MVP in addition to being an MVP of the league. If you read the article, what I said was...
I read it over and over and over. I just read it 12 times for the fans.
Okay.
But you missed the deflection.
Other than Isaiah Thomas and Kawhi Leonard, every other team, less the Detroit Pistons, of course, they are the anomaly, that has won the NBA championship in the last 35 years has had an MVP of the league on their team.
Giannis won MVP. Nikola Jokic, did he win the MVP last year? He didn't win it last year, though.
I didn't say in the year that they won it. I said they have been the MVP of the league at some point in their career.
So Jalen Brunson has emerged as a legend, and
no. He's a usual suspect. There's no legend. He hasn't gotten past the first round.
So Tyrese Maxey or Jalen Brunson, when they get past this round, they emerge as a legend. They have to be elevated. Either one of them has to be elevated with their performances.
I usually like to get to the conference. I usually like you to get to the conference finals or the finals to be a legend.
Either one of them has to be elevated in this series. Again, or you're
listening. You get really, really good in the first round, and that's great.
Either one of them. Either one of these guys, Tyrese Maxey, for his Reggie Miller impression, doing 7 points in like
That's
16
not a
seconds.
Reggie Miller impression because
What did he do? Yeah, you replay the last. You watch all of the game. Replay the last plays of the regular.
When Reggie did what Reggie did.
See,
what stage of the playoffs were they at? It wasn't the first round.
It was the second round. It wasn't.
And the other time he did it, when was that? That was in the finals, right?
No, he didn't do nothing like that. It was in the conference finals to get to them.
Okay, so conference finals and second round.
Okay.
So first round, yeah, I don't talk.
First round doesn't count. So now you're saying first round of what they do in the first round doesn't count.
Don't get to be a legend.
So Jalen, wait, so Jalen Brunson doing something no one has done in the whole franchise history of the New York Knicks. Then he doesn't get elevated. But I bet if Carmelo had 40 and 10, oh my goodness.
Never did it.
That would be basketball lore right there. That you create another category for Carmelo Anthony, wouldn't you?
Carmelo is a usual suspect. He never extended.
That's where Brunson is right now. And he was at with before he did something in franchise history that's never been done before.
Right,
but if Carmelo Anthony did that, you create a basketball lore category for him.
No, I wouldn't. I don't create special categories just for certain players. It's ludicrous.
It is ludicrous. You're absolutely right. It's bananas. It is absolutely right.
So why would I do that for Jalen Brunson? Especially considering he may not even get past the first round. There will be a game 7 in the Garden.
Regardless, I can't wait to have this conversation next week because you will have to elevate Jalen Brunson or Tyrese Maxey for what they've already done.
I don't have to elevate anybody. Who knows?
Well, I will elevate them. How about that? I will elevate them. I will take what is it? Editorial preference and edit it and elevate them myself. How about that? How about that?
In your own personal opinion, which doesn't carry any weight with regards to what I wrote, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, there'll be editorial adjustments made. Believe that for either one of these guys. Fans, again, look at the article. What's the name of the article, Cleveland?
What it takes to win an NBA championship.
You can find this on the voiceofthefans.org under the sports news tab. This article that I'm just shooting Rambo shots into tonight, fans. Just shooting the Rambo shots in tonight. And Cleveland's just he's so annoyed by this, fans.
I find it all humorous that these random slingshot with a BB is supposed to tear through the whole core of the argument. It's like,
and it is. It is. I think I'm pretty sure the fans agree with me.
Oh, they read it. They won't. So.
The Bucks and the Pacers. Okay, for my first question in this series, the Bucks won their game last night. Pat Bev leads the Bucks to a big win in Game 5. So you have to give Pat Bev some credit for his performance. He had a double-double, 12 points, I think 12 assists, if I remember correctly. Does Doc Rivers get any credit for beating the Pacers without Dame Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo?
No.
When will you give the man some credit? He's being beat
by
the better team.
Milwaukee Bucks to the NBA championship.
Well, they're not getting to the championship because I told you before the playoffs started that the Pacers are going to beat the Bucks. That was one of the 3 upsets that I had. I had the Mavericks over the Clippers.
I know you're saying that real matter-of-factly, but so far that hasn't happened just yet. And if Doc Rivers doesn't get the Milwaukee Bucks to...
They're up 3-2. So you're going to bring back a hobbled Dame Lillard and a hobbled Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you think they're going to beat the Pacers going back home to Indiana? Not happening. Not happening.
Well, if they don't, I mean, what? Repeat your question. Is Doc Rivers to blame for all this? The answer is yes.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Does Doc Rivers get any credit because they won a game 5?
See how he just want to take shots at Doc fans. You see how he just want to talk to reverse my whole question. You just want to take shots at Doc. That's all you want to do. That's all you want to do, as you have been doing all season long. All you want to do is take shots at Doc.
I'm not taking shots at him. I mean, his record coaching this team has been atrocious, man.
That was a bad loss by the Pacers. I must admit, you without Dame, without Giannis, you're supposed to close those guys out. You can't let Pat Bev. All respect to Pat Bev. I love him. He's a great dude. He's the kind of guys you hate to play against, but you love it when he's on your team. You love him when he's on your team. He's a great dude on the court, off the court, in the locker room, outside the locker room. He's going to give you honesty. He's going to be real with you. But Pacers, Indiana Pacers, if you want to get to the mountaintop, you cannot lose to the Milwaukee Bucks, Patrick Beverly, and what's the dude, Chris Middleton. You cannot let those two dudes keep you from moving on in the playoffs. Closing those guys out, moving to the next round. They say the hardest game to win is a closeout game, and the Pacers have learned that the hard way. Cavaliers and the Mavericks. Cavaliers lead the series 3-2. This is my third.
Magic.
What did I say? Mavericks. I'm sorry. My apologies. Cavaliers and the Magic lead 3-2. I had the Magic winning the series. They're down 3-2. They were able to win last night to stay alive in the playoffs.
No, they lost last night. Cleveland.
They lost to the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. You told me never mind. I don't. Can they come back and win Game 6 on the road? I don't know. I don't know. I don't anticipate it. I expected this to be like a 4-1 series. The Cavaliers are actually playing, recognizing they came out in the series and winning Game 1 and 2, showing these guys what basketball was like, playoff basketball was like, and the Magic responded in kind and then turned around and lost last night. Can they win? Can they win the second game to push it to 7 games? We'll see. We'll see. I'm not as confident as I was going into the playoff about this series. This is one of the series I had the upset in. I had the Pacers over the Bucks, the Magic over the Cavaliers, and I had the Mavericks beating the Clippers. Cleveland, you agree with me that the Magic would win this series over the Cavaliers, and yeah, obviously you were just all over the Clippers losing. It didn't matter who they were playing. They could have been playing Snow White. You would have had Snow White beating the Clippers either way. What's your thoughts on the Magic Cavalier series?
The way the Magic manhandled Cleveland in Orlando, I definitely feel it's going to be a Game 7 in Cleveland. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know which one of those teams is over their skis with regards to that. Clearly the Orlando Magic have no experience, so they've never been there. So they were just playing on adrenaline and, they just don't know any better. And, I think Cleveland is playing with a little bit more of a fear factor, if you will. If it gets to Game 7. I mean, first things first, take care of business in Game 6. So
OKC Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault has won the Coach of the Year. Any issues with that? And
deservedly so.
And
deservedly so.
Brad Stevens has won. I think he has a Coach of the Year award, and he's won Executive of the Year for the Boston Celtics.
Deservedly so.
Any issues with that?
Nope, none whatsoever.
Who has the worst luck, Cleveland? Who has the worst luck in the NBA? KD, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Zion, or Joel Embiid?
Joel Embiid.
Man, love to see those guys healthy. Obviously, it's not going to be this year for KD or AD. Zion. Joel's the only one left. Can they get it right? Can the 76ers get it right? Joel Embiid is fortunate to have Tyrese Maxey turning the corner on his team. If he doesn't get it right this season, they're going to be a force next year. He was playing at an MVP clip before he actually went down. So, kind of hate to see that, Cleveland. What's your thoughts on Joel?
Absolutely. It becomes a broken record after a while, though. Sometimes the best ability is what, Cam? Availability. So, I mean, if you're always going to be like, oh man, if only Joel was healthy, if only Chris Paul was healthy, if only Blake Griffin was healthy, if only Zion was healthy, you just start to hear that like just too many times. And it's like, man, when he is healthy and on his game, he is unstoppable. And the 45th or 46th game of the season, that's cool, man, but that's not what they're playing for. So yeah, you just get tired of hearing it over and over again. Like, even I don't know, I mean, perhaps you have a different perspective on this, but this has been like 4 years of Kawhi not being healthy in the playoffs, right?
Okay, fans. So again, in the building for Clippers Dallas after game 2, and when it was announced that Kawhi was not going to perform in game 3, it was like an impromptu. Usually, so on Sunday, part of the reason we didn't do our Sunday special is because I was at the American Airlines Arena, and that day, Jason Kidd, there was a 2:30 game, 2:30 Central Time. Jason Kidd scheduled to go talk at 1:00 for his. Each coach does a pregame press conference. Jason Kidd is scheduled to talk at 1:00. Tyronn Lue scheduled to talk at 1:15. Usually the coach goes 10 or 12 minutes. And in this situation, they had the conference in the same room. The Clippers next door to the room, the Clippers did their press post-game press conference, and the coaches, you kind of had to go back and forth to see who was going to talk first, if you to miss a player or not. But Lawrence Frank called an impromptu press conference before game 4, announcing Kawhi would not be playing in the game. It went on to say the typical stuff you would expect him to say. We're looking after the player, saving the player from himself, yada yada yada. He would not play. My question to Ty Lue. Ty Lue, how frustrating is it for you as the head coach of this team to not have your full complement of players healthy for 4 consecutive seasons? He's been able to do some remarkable things with an unhealthy squad 4 years in a row. And, he gave me the injuries are a part of sports. And, we prepared for this matchup with and without Kawhi, not knowing whether he was going to play or not. So the team is prepared. But with or without Kawhi, I mean, I was getting at the frustration level, and of course he wasn't going to tell me he's at his wit's end and he can't take it no more, and this is the last straw. Of course he wasn't going to go there, but I wanted to hear the man speak in front of the microphone about how frustrating this has to be for him. But he's a player. He played in the league. He's dealt with injuries. He dealt with different coaches. He dealt with the ups and downs of the NBA. But my goodness, deep down inside, this has to be really frustrating. And fans, I'll tell you this, and I haven't shared this with I don't think I shared this with you, Cleveland, but I can see a scenario where Ty Lue, after the season, if they were to lose in the first round, I think they'll. I do have the Magic winning the series, but I have them winning one of these games that'll probably go 7, and they do have home court advantage. I could see a scenario where he's like, I've given it all I can. He took the Clippers to the furthest they've ever been in the playoffs, where he says, I've had enough. I can't deal with it. The guys are just. Kyrie says, or Kawhi says, his knee is not responding. Ty Lue can say, my team isn't responding. Although the team is responding. The team does respond to him. Again, he took the team to the furthest they've been, and that was without a Kawhi Leonard, who didn't play the whole season. 2021, I believe it was. So they've had success without Kawhi Leonard. But how frustrating, Cleveland, do you think that has to be for you continue to coach this team with 4 potential? Are they potential Hall of Famers or the first ballot Hall of Famers? 4 of them.
4 of them, Cam, and it's incredibly frustrating. And when he says injuries are the part of the game, he's being facetious because this is the same coach that coached the King to 4 straight NBA Finals. And if the King was not available, they would have never gotten to the NBA Finals, and he would have never had the resume that he had to get the Clippers job. And so I know he's looking around like, hey, man, where's the superhero? And, he's rehabbing. Every year he's rehabbing. Every year he's not sure. This year he tried to give it a little bit of a go. Very gimpy.
It's
injury is part of the game, but it's not something he's experienced as a coach before. I mean, not until he came to Los Angeles and coached them. I mean, before he was coaching the King. So,
where the King? Where's the King at right now? Is he packed? Is he already packed? Is he already in Barbados?
The King when Ty Lue was coaching them in the NBA.
Is he already in Barbados or is he packing for Barbados? Which one is it? Is he shopping for Barbados? Is he already in Barbados? Or
no, he got to shop. I mean, he gets on the flight and touches down, and when he gets there, hey, let me pick out some some attire real quick.
So he's already in Barbados.
Not quite just yet. To tie up.
So he's not in the playoffs. So we're not even discussing that guy, right? We're only discussing playoff participants, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that has to be a frustrating situation, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has to be a really tough situation, and I can honestly say that I could see a scenario where he just says thank you, but no thank you, going into next year, which is kind of difficult because if he's making $12 million this year, and he says Ballmer, thank you, but no thank you. When Ballmer
he's not gonna say thanks, but no thanks to the $12 million, man. That's again.
I mean, I'm not sure what he's making, but if Ballmer puts down another 5 on top,
sometimes being a coach or a manager is frustrating, but the $12 million makes it all go away.
Yeah, well, that might be where his head's at. Cleveland, let's talk about this NFL, man. Let's talk about this NFL draft. A couple of things we'll get to before the draft. Travis Kelce signs a new deal with the Chiefs, 2 years, $17 million per. Good deal for the Chiefs. I mean, how can you argue with this one?
Great deal for the Chiefs.
Zeke signs with the Cowboys. What's your thoughts on this situation? Zeke signing with the Cowboys, did that help the Cowboys?
Yeah, they realized that they missed that they missed each other a little bit too late.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Cleveland, in regards to the NFL draft, here are a couple of my notes, and you chime in when you want to. But here's some of my notes. I didn't because it just is weird. Like the draft is a 3-day thing. Well, before I get to my notes on the draft, let's discuss this draft format. Thursday is Thursday night. Oddly enough, I was at the airport Thursday night, when the draft started, and I just happened to be around a couple Michigan graduates, and there's some other fans that were, around TV. Few women kind of surprised me that were just as into the draft as a couple of fellows were into the draft. But one of the women were a Michigan graduate. One of the dudes actually before. So what the draft started at 7:00. So we're there. I think I sat down probably 6:30. And we're talking about whose teams do they enjoy, what teams do they enjoy. But the goofball said, Cleveland, he actually said this. And then this is when I realized, some people say stuff and you just when they come out their mouth with such ridiculous stuff, I just ignore. I can't even talk to you. I can't even talk to you. When the guy says he sees Jim Harbaugh trading Justin Herbert and drafting JJ McCarthy, like that conversation's over. Like I can't even talk to you about football. Like you lose a lot of football credibility with me, and the conversation's over. Then you say that, I went to Michigan, so I have some inside scoop. All right, dude. All right, whatever. All right, and I turned and I started talking to the lady who swore Blake Corum was going to go drafted in that Thursday night. She swore for up and down Blake Corum is going to get lady. No disrespect to you and your sorority you attended at Michigan, but Blake Corum is going. He's the third day guy. Well, excuse me. Again, the format of the NFL. He was a second or third day guy, more likely a third day guy. He got drafted in the third round. If I remember. But Cleveland, when the guy says Harbaugh is going to trade Justin Herbert, regardless of what you think about Justin Herbert, I stated you for 2 years on what he was doing and how he's changing the NFL record book. Is there any thought cross your mind that he might potentially get traded and make Jim Harbaugh would make way for JJ McCarthy?
And Jim Harbaugh has coached NFL before, so he knows better than that.
Like, I just had to, when he said that, like, I'm listening to what he was talking about. But when he threw out that potential trade, you're cut off. Okay, let me talk.
Look no further than when Pete Carroll had the pick at 14. Could have picked the All-American Taylor Mays, but he said no. I am picking Earl Thomas III.
And
he established such a precedence around here. Cannot be understated.
How many years did Taylor Mays play? He bounced around. He was at least on
year 4. And instantly
3 or 4 different teams on three.
Instantly, he played. I think at least 3 with Cincinnati. But instantly, you saw why he made the pick. Like, he has to come to a complete stop to change direction. Super stiff hips. Hips are on a swivel, and you know enough about football. You know enough about college football. You've seen all these players enough times to know that, not doing that.
So do you like the 3-day format where it's Thursday the first round, Friday the second and third round, and Saturday the rest of the rounds? Like after Friday.
So when you were saying it, I always thought that like stretching it out like that was uneventful. But the more that you say it, like the second round doesn't need its own day by itself. I mean, put it either in the other day with the other picks.
What was the second and third round on Friday? It was second and third round on Friday.
Okay. Well, even second and third, they don't need their own day. Like either make it like 1, 2, 3 the first day, or make it the first round the first day, and then everything else. It does not like it's all.
I'm with you there. Type of thing. I mean, to be honest with you, I knew it was on. And I tuned in because you want to see if things actually go as everybody talked about the first round 1. You want to see that, right? You want to see if everything falls into place like we've been hearing for the last month, how things are going to fall out. You want to know what Chicago's going to do at 9. You want to know what's going to happen where the Chargers are going to trade out of 5. You want to know who's going to trade up. Are your Broncos going to actually get?
Yeah.
I mean, we want to know kind of again all these scenarios that we've been hearing about for a month, kind of how things fall out. The second day, 2 and 3, okay. I was like, again, I was at the stadium. It wasn't top of mind. In day 3, Saturday, it was like whatever, man. Whatever. Like I'm not even paying attention. I'll catch up with it on Monday or Tuesday. Like it was not important to me. And I'm a football fan. I'm a football fan more than basketball fan. We would be doing NFL would lead the show if it weren't NFL NBA playoffs. You know, NFL would definitely lead the show as it does for 9 months of the year, but it's NBA playoffs. Again, it's a little hotter than the NFL draft, right? So I don't think I'm with you, Cleveland. I don't think it needs 2 days. If they did it in 1 day like they used to do, or if they did it the Saturday, Sunday, I'd still be cool with that. I mean, but the NFL, and then another thing, I know for planning purposes, they probably have it planned out where it's going to be next year. If it's not already planned and announced, is going to be announced within a week or 2. I understand that for planning purposes and coordination and all that, why you do it so soon. But why is it draft in Detroit? And Detroit is drafting 28, 29. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It needs to be in a city that is, oddly enough, I was in Chicago.
Drafting way higher. Yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense, so that their fans are a lot more galvanized, and it's a thing, but they're trying to make it like it's just, yeah.
I don't know. They say more people attended the draft. I think the number was 700,000 people attended the draft. And I understand you move it to different cities. Okay, keep it out of Chicago. I mean, it's a unique experience. It is a very unique experience. Having been to the NFL draft, I think I told you my draft story. But it is a very unique experience that you get to. Not many people is gonna experience it how I experienced it, but it was a very, very unique experience being at the NFL draft. And this, when I went, it was in New York. It's always been in New York until recently they moved it around, right? You remember the story, right? I told you about the draft story. Very unique, very, very unique situation. It needs to be in a draft, and I don't know. I guess they have all these data analysts.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, bro. But that's your scenario is impossible to do because you're asking them to not tell anyone where the draft is going to be until the end of a regular NFL season. That's just not
Cleveland
logistically possible.
Cleveland, it's May, so they have 4 months. They would have 4 months.
Man, those type of venues, you can't just be like, oh, hey, 5 months. No, that's like a year out.
I guarantee, Cleveland, if the NFL called the city of Seattle and said we're going to have the draft there on the last weekend in April, the city should be able to pull.
Yes. And where were you planning to have that at?
I mean, they had it at a park. They had it at a park downtown and put up a podium and close some streets off. So we can't get a draft together in 4 months.
No.
Granted is better, but what I was going to say before you cut me off, what I was going to say is they have all these data analysts, right? And all these charts and stuff, but they can, put some numbers together, put some charts together, and sure, it's not going to be a perfect science, but Cleveland, you and I can probably determine 5 of the worst teams. We know Washington is going to be in the category for our early draft next season, right? We know Tennessee Titans are probably going to be in the running for early draft next season, right? You and I can probably say unequivocally right now that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be in the running for an early draft selection next season, right?
It's easier to do get that city prepped up and hey, heads up, it's going to be there next year. And
I understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying poo-pooing that if you have 9 months to get it something prepared versus 3.5 months, you probably do a better job. That's not what I'm saying. I understand why. Like I said, like I started off initially, they're probably, if they haven't announced where the draft is going to be next year, they'll do it within the first couple months or within the next couple weeks. I totally get that. I understand for planning purposes why they set it out a year in advance. But again, like I'm saying, it doesn't take, you and I can already determine that there's a Jacksonville, maybe not Jacksonville. We can already determine that the Denver Broncos will be making a top 10 draft pick next season, right? We know that.
But then you're just always having it in really adverse situations, and sometimes those adverse situations don't correct themselves quickly enough, and so it's always going to be that.
Well, again, I'm not saying
that between like Carolina and
Carolina. Put it in these cities where the team is going to be drafted early, so that city is much more into the draft. Like Detroit was into the draft because nothing goes to Detroit. Like they got a last Super Bowl right when it snowed, but everything's inside. So when do they have an event in Detroit? Yes, Detroit's going to be excited to have something there in the springtime. Yes, obviously. I'm just saying they can plan it a little bit better. So where the teams drafting within the top 10 that's where the city should be, or that's where the draft should be. That's my opinion. Nonetheless, here's some of my draft notes, and as I go through these, please chime in. But obviously the Bears they draft Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, kind of outside of protected Cleveland. But what I want to ask you, Cleveland, is how often can you recall? And I looked at it. I looked at some different combinations and did a little history. Do you know when the last time this has happened that a team drafted their starting quarterback? Caleb Williams is going to be their starting quarterback, right? And their starting receiver, Rome Odunze, we project him to be one of the top 3 receivers on the team, right? At least one of the top 3. Maybe he's not 1 or 2, but he'll be in the top 3. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
When has it happened that a team has drafted their number 1 quarterback and their top 3 receiver? And Drake May got drafted, and then Jalen Pope he got drafted as well. I guess Jalen Pope, I thought, in my opinion, when we did the Rome Odunze highlight clip a few weeks ago, I thought Jalen Pope had more highlights than Rome Odunze. Is he better? Time will tell. But he'll be you would project him to be one of their top 3 receivers, right? For the New England Patriots?
I think so.
So it has happened. Drake May and Jalen Pope. I looked at Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning. Well, Harrison was a couple years before Peyton Manning. Burrow and Chase. Chase came after Burrow. Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith. Devontae came a year after Jalen Hurts. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle. Waddle came a year after Tua. Dave Craig and Steve Largent, were they both on the team? I know Steve Largent was on the team when the 1976 squad. Was Dave Craig on the squad, or did he come the year later?
That's later. Yeah.
So when has it happened that you can remember, Cleveland, that a team has got a number 1 quarterback and their top 3 receiver in the same draft?
Almost never. It's extremely rare.
So I mean that adds a lot of added interest. Everybody was already interested to see what Caleb Williams is going to do, and obviously we want to see what he does with Rome Odunze, and that adds interest to Drake May and Jalen Pope. Now I don't have a lot of confidence in Drake May, but we'll see what happens. Him and Jalen Polk, see how that combination, that duo plays out. One of my draft notes is the Falcons, and everybody's talking about this one. Falcons, even after they signed Cousins to I think it was $130 million deal, they draft Michael Penix Jr. Does it make sense to you? Do you understand it? Are you just as lost as everybody else?
No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do with regards to their explanation of it. They're trying to be proactive and preemptive with regards to drafting a franchise quarterback before the fact. But if you thought that you were going to have an opportunity to draft Penix Jr., you probably shouldn't have signed Cousins. You probably should have signed someone else that would be an adequate backup. While Penix learned under him and not spent the $100 million guaranteed dollars on it.
Yeah. Cousins looked like he robbed him again. Fans, just to give you guys the update right now, the Dallas Mavericks are up 71-50, 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
That's 21 points, right, Cam? If I'm doing the math correctly,
it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
71-50.
Well, now it's 73-50, and somebody's going to the line for the.
That's 23 points. Okay.
With just over 4 minutes 44 seconds to go in the third quarter.
So 23 points.
Yeah. Did you have something right on tonight? Did you have tonight in the points?
Not till next game.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna have
look
to
tired is what they look, Boots. They look like, man, they like they could certainly use a go-to player, but their knee's not responding right now.
So Penix, yeah, it didn't make sense to me. Obviously, if they felt they can get Michael Penix, if he's going to be there for them, with the number of mocks.
There's no way they didn't think that he wasn't going to be there at number 8 because they just hadn't had that much activity about it. And I keep hearing it's like when they drafted Mahomes. It's like when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. It's like when they drafted Jordan Love. It's like, no, those guys were way later. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes was after 8. So it's like,
yeah, he was the top 15 pick. So one thing I keep hearing about is he's 24. So by the time he starts, he'll be 26. I'm not sure that's irrelevant to me.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, lots of quarterbacks don't start till their 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I mean, that's
yeah.
I don't understand. Oh, the knock on making the move is you already paid one dude. Like you didn't give him $20 million like the Seahawks gave what was my man? I have a brain fart. That Green Bay. No, they signed the quarterback from Green Bay and then drafted Russell Wilson.
Oh,
but they gave him $20 million. It was a lot of money at the time. The quarterbacks weren't making. I mean, the $20 million was a lot of money at the time. Don't get me wrong. But it was like a 1-year deal. And then they drafted Russell, and Pete was like, yeah, we're going with this dude. So, but they gave this guy $50 million it's $100 million. It's $100 million guaranteed. I think the deal was actually like $130, if I remember correctly, for 3 years. But it's $100 million guaranteed. Is like, no, you guys didn't have to do that. And if you don't have faith in Cousins being healthy to start the season, like you way overpaid for him. Yeah, it just doesn't mean I can give a damn about his feelings and Kirk Cousins being hurt and upset that they drafted the guy. You getting $100 million guaranteed. If he ends up taking your spot, just hold the clipboard and shut up. But I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Got my eye on Jalen Daniels and Drake May. I like Daniels. I like Daniels and what he can do. I'm very interested to see if he's able to lift the Commanders up and do something with that squad. But I'm not sure about Drake May. I'm just not sure, and nothing against Mayo, but I mean, new coach, a rookie coach, rookie quarterback. I mean, what they did in Houston last year, I think, is an anomaly. Just not sure about what these guys do in New England. Just not sure what they do. The Vikings move up to get JJ McCarthy at 10. Right spot, good pickup. They have the Vikings, they kind of look to score a lot of points, but they have a nice receiving core. They have some tools. The running game, I mean, is not terrible. They have some tools. Do you like that pick? You like that pick for McCarthy? You think, you think that's too high for McCarthy?
Probably talking to the wrong person. I think that's way too high for JJ McCarthy.
Well, you saw him up close. I'm talking. I mean,
I did. I
like I said, that goofball that had McCarthy had Harbaugh trading. Cleveland, you think I'm BSing, man? Dude actually said he can see Harbaugh trading Justin Herbert
for JJ McCarthy. Yeah.
Dude actually said that in front of people, like in front of people at the airport. Like,
yes, that's fanaticism. That's when you're so
no, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Invested into your program or whatever that you can't see the weaknesses in a player.
Is it a stretch to say none of the first round quarterbacks will not turn out to be good? Yeah, none of them. I mean,
it is not a stretch. It is not a stretch, Boots, to say that other than Caleb Williams, none of the rest of them.
None. Now you're changing. Why you like? Hey, Boots, you got to watch Cleveland. He'll change your words around. He'll change his.
Is it a stretch that none of the first round quarterbacks will not turn out to be good? And I said Caleb is going to be good. Penix, he's going to have it looks like a long time to kind of learn the position. But the rest of those guys, no, they're going to suck. Said it here first.
Jalen Daniels is going to suck?
Daniels, May, and McCarthy are going to suck.
What about Bo Nix at number 12?
And he's going to suck too, even more than the rest of those guys I just named.
Wow. Oh, I mean, what's your heart on for McCarthy and Daniels and
those guys aren't good, man. I mean, you can tell a good quarterback when you see one. Cameron, those guys aren't good. They did.
Okay, is it a stress that none of the first round quarterbacks will turn out to be good?
Which one of those guys do you have confidence in? Like, seriously,
Jaden Daniels. I think from what I see, Jaden Daniels,
the LSU,
the Heisman Trophy winner, the recent Heisman Trophy winner, can be better than the previous Heisman Trophy winner. That's what I see. And like I said, I want to see, can he lift the he has your guy Score McLaurin, who's on the other side of him. They got Austin
Dotson on the other side.
They got Austin Eckler. So I don't know. Is he gonna stink? Is he gonna be doo-doo like you're saying? I mean, I don't know.
All those quarterbacks are gonna suck. Other than
as I mentioned earlier, Cleveland
won't actually have to see the field. So
as I mentioned earlier,
to be determined.
You and I can decipher, as I was talking about where the draft should be. Washington will be picking early in the draft, in the top 10 of the draft. Will they be the worst team on the draft board? I don't know. The Broncos will be picking early next season. We already know that. We don't have to do any analytical data to tell that. So that it's easier said than done, or it's either done than said to decide where the draft should be and who are going to be the worst teams in the league. I do, regardless of how much I like Daniels or not, I do think that Washington will find themselves drafted early in the draft. But that's not to say that he's going to be terrible. That's just going to say 27, 12 points in the quarter, 83-58.
Doesn't sound like that's getting any better over there.
2
in
minutes to
Los
go.
Angeles.
Okay, we got. All right.
So
Powell,
maybe their last game in the Crip House. Is that what you're saying?
The Raiders take Bowers. How good is Bowers going to be at 13? Or how good is Bowers going to be? Are you confident?
I don't know how much of a difference he makes at the tight end position at the 12 spot. I mean, I know everyone's like, if he's there, you got to take him. If he's there, you got to take him. No, you have to be able to use your tight end if you take a tight end that high. And a lot of teams are not very proficient at using their tight end. The ones that are, they get the most out of them. But the ones that have like just regular quarterbacks, like it's a hard position.
Do you see him as being that guy? Because he got a lot of talk.
He has to be in the right situation. That's what I'm saying. Because a tight end can't affect.
Assuming they use him, obviously. I see him more as just a big receiver. I don't see him as
well, I mean, if you have like a Kelsey Gronk type, I mean Jimmy Graham type, I mean, I'm hoping that they are looking at him more like a Jimmy Graham type. Like, please don't have him trying to be a pulling guard and trying to pick up blitzes and stuff, because that's not what he really does, man.
But he just seemed like a big receiver, man. He runs over a little. His highlights are running over little safeties and little cornerbacks.
Because they're all trying to cover like a spread offense, and he just comes out open across the middle. And if you have an effective tight end, he's always open.
I mean, is he going to be that guy? So they have 13
probably not in that system, and probably not without a legitimate quarterback. So a little high.
So it'll be interesting to see. Kind of, I got my eyes on the Raiders and see how they use that guy, how that guy turns out. The 49ers drafting Ricky Pearsall, like another guy that's like, obviously, I mean, there was a lot of talk that the 49ers are getting rid of their receiving core. Like, they'd be coming into next season with a whole new receiving core. There was talk that Brandon Ayuk wanted to get out of there. There's talking about Deebo Samuels being on the blocks. And so Pearsall, leading into the draft, I heard there was a lot of conversation around him. Around the 49ers receiving core. So it's understandable why they picked him up. Ooh, wait. Did he get fouled? I was about to say, did he get fouled? Yeah, he did get fouled. They hit a three-pointer at the buzzer. Clippers made a little run there, but he hit a three-pointer at the buzzer and has a chance to put them back up by 20 points. So all the talk was that the 49ers receiving core would be kind of broken up. And so I understand why they took Pearsall out of Florida, I think. No, Florida or Florida State, one of those schools.
Florida.
The Chiefs or the Bills trading with the Chiefs for the Chiefs to draft Xavier Worthy. What's your thoughts on Xavier Worthy?
Super duper fast. Don't know how well he runs routes. Quite a bit colder in Kansas City than Texas. Hope he can succeed.
Skeets Nehemiah, you remember Bernardo Skeets Nehemiah?
Yeah.
Track fast. And what happened to him when he got touched by one of those NFL DBs?
That was the end of his career, and it was always painfully obvious what's coming on when he comes in the game, right?
I mean,
Xavier's better than that. I mean, he's not just a track guy, like put on some pads. He actually plays football.
Well, yeah, and he can run some routes.
He's just not very big. And I don't know how clean his routes are, but they'll work with that.
I mean, yeah, if all he's doing is running fly routes, you got to send somebody with them, right? And maybe in some cases, two guys with them. Is that going to open it up for Kelsey? Is that going to open up for Rice? I mean, sheesh.
I mean, it'll open up for everybody if you have to, contend with that dude, and especially if he learns to do some other things other than just, the go route. Yeah.
Why would the Bills trade with them?
They came back and got their receiver.
Yeah, but
an extra pick for it. And Worthy wasn't gonna, again, you're going from cold in Kansas City to even colder in Buffalo. Like, hey man.
Well, I mean, they got the dude from Florida State. Isn't that who they reached Coleman from Florida State, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not all predicated on just super, flash type speed,
Okay, so speaking of receivers, the Chargers, they draft for need. And they signed 3 receivers. Obviously, when you trade Keenan Allen, the league, your franchise's the guy who has the most receptions in the franchise, you trade you were long gone off of actually Mike Williams joined your Jets. You're a Jets fan. Mike Williams joins your Jets. How do you feel about Mike Williams over there with your guy Saleh?
Hey man, they draft a lot of other receivers, so I mean, if he makes a team, makes a team. We'll see.
Oh, wait! You're sour on Mike Williams?
Oh man, he's always oft injured. I mean, he drops a lot of passes. I mean, he's not going to be their number 1 receiver. Garrett Wilson is their number 1 receiver. So,
well, he's injured. He doesn't drop a lot of passes. He just stays injured. But so the Chargers, they get their linemen from Notre Dame. Their linemen from Notre Dame, but they drafted 3 receivers. They got the lad McConkey. What do you think about McConkey? Like, I don't want to be too judgmental, but
yeah, you don't think he's going to be that great.
He was a possession receiver at college. Come on, what do you think he's going to do in the NFL? What's your thoughts on lad McConkey?
Hey man, I never like it when I don't like your name already.
Well, he's a son. His dad played. His dad used to play.
Phil, I get it. Yeah.
I mean,
lad McConkey. It's right. It reminds me what I couldn't get on the Roddy White bus, man. Dude, your name is Roddy. Your name is Roddy White, man.
Okay. They also drafted Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. Like,
I know after the Niners, man, the Niners got some explaining to do, man, because he was there a few times and they didn't draft.
I mean, I heard him talk. I heard a couple of interviews. He sounded like a good dude. And
he was the cool part. Like, he was the number 1 player available, and then like 4 receivers went in front of him. It was cold. Like, wow.
Who's going to be better, McConkey or Rice?
Oh, Rice.
Oh, so you're not on McConkey either?
No.
And then this
lad McConkey, no.
I mean, hey, he went to Georgia. Like, I just see him a possession receiver. I don't know. They need receivers.
Lad McConkey. Nah, he's not an NFL player. Man.
Micah Johnson. Are you any familiarity with Micah Johnson?
Micah Johnson.
That was the 3rd receiver they drafted. The Chargers did.
Oh,
I don't know. I know they needed receiver. So the Dolphins, they drafted for need as well, except they didn't get their defensive tackle that they needed with Wilkins going to the Raiders. They got a pass rusher, edge rusher to kind of give you insurance if who got hurt. Jalen Phillips got hurt, and then what's the other guy's name? Number 2 got hurt as well at the end of the last season. And Robinson, geez, how am I having a brain fart? They got a lot of picks for him.
Bradley Chubb got hurt.
Bradley Chubb, yeah, he got hurt. So this guy is to fill in for either one of these guys who won't be ready when the season starts. They got the 1 offensive lineman. I don't think they got enough offensive linemen. They drafted another running back from Tennessee, is kind of a speed guy. Kind of didn't understand why you go. I thought our backfield was kind of straight with Mostert and
Mostert.
Yeah, but we go get a 3rd running back, like
special teamer.
Maybe so. I don't think. I think they needed another fat guy, um, to block, specifically for that off the injured quarterback that they got. Um, yeah. Then the Seahawks, they draft for need as well. They get their tight end AJ Bonner. You saw him play for Michigan. What's your thoughts?
I didn't really see a whole lot of him at Michigan. I mean, if he can come in and do that, that's great. I actually like Westover, the UW tight end, getting picked up as a free agent because he understands the offense already. And he was always real incredibly elusive, especially in the red zone. But this draft was all about Byron Murphy II. Either they hit a home run or they didn't.
What'd you think about Byron? I think Byron Murphy. He's playing against. He's going to be playing with who's shit.
So play right next to Leonard Williams. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah,
really get down like that, and it was projected as the best defensive player in the draft. So if the best defensive player in the draft falls to you at 16, man, it's a blessing. Take it and see what you get.
Best defensive player. I'm not sure who.
Well, he was the first defensive player picked. So the only other players that you're talking about are Latu and and Dallas, right? And
but dude's solid. I'm familiar with Murphy. I saw Murphy play a couple times. He's a solid dude. Like he caused a lot of havoc, especially when the Texas Longhorns they played Alabama. Caused a lot of havoc. And then I don't think it's kind of weird to say though that the big guys, most of their, it's rare that they have the young defensive tackles or interior defensive linemen. It's rare that they produce in their first few years. It's rare because they need to get their grown man strength. First, they need to get their technique right, and then they need to get their grown man strength, and then they need to get that comfort within the league. So you see a lot of them excel later on in their career. That's kind of weird that you see that, but most often the defensive stalwarts perform later on in their career more than they do in their career. But he's playing against a guy who's been in the league. The guy who I just described, who's been in the league, who's got this grown man strength, and that is going to require a double team. So he's going to be able to play oftentimes without just him and the guy in front of him. And so if he can play like he played in college, at least, I think that's a great pickup. I think that's going to give him a chance to perform because he's playing with the guy, a veteran defensive tackle in the league. I think that's a good sign. That's going to be a good help for him. They get the lineman, Christian Hayes, and their linebacker, Tyrese Knight. How do you think Tyrese Knight? You guys also stole the Dolphins linebacker, Jerome Baker. Like that was a good pickup. So your linebacker, you should be good at the inside linebacker spot. You should be fairly good at there. What do you think about the Seahawks moves in the draft?
I'm still not 100% sold on what the linebackers are going to look like. I think that Coach McDonald has gotten linebackers that fit more his scheme and what it is that he's trying to do than they had previously. And they got a lot of potential help on the offensive line, which they're going to need at the guard positions. And then thought it was quite interesting. They drafted two cornerbacks from the same team, both Auburn cornerbacks. So I don't think they'll both make the team, but maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. It was just kind of weird.
Right. Well, I felt the same way about the Dolphins when they drafted Xavier Howard out of Tulane, or not Tulane. Shit. Damn, he went to school down in Texas. Was the green team? What school did RG3 go to? Baylor. Excuse me.
Baylor.
Yeah, they drafted Xavier Howard out of Baylor, who gave up 40 points a game. But Baylor, he actually turned out to be good in the league, right? But I'm like, why would you draft a quarterback from a team who gives up 40 points a game? Like, to me, nobody from that defense should be drafted, right? You give up 40 points a game. It is college football, but come on, cut it out. A couple other my draft notes is the Cardinals. I mean, if they hit on some of their players, if they hit on 75% of their players, that means they'll have 8 performing players from their draft. They drafted 12 players. That was Like looking at the draft board, they drafted 12 players. Cleveland, does Cooper DeJean have a chance to? He's gonna have a chance to play. Will he be any good? Iowa's Cooper DeJean. Will he be any good in the NFL? The Eagles drafted him. That was their second cornerback taken in the draft. The first white cornerback in many years to play in the NFL. Well, he hasn't played yet, but will he be any good? Will he actually hit the field?
It's gonna be Jason Sehorn reincarnated, bro. He's gonna be just fine.
He's gonna be just fine. Hopefully, they don't put him back at the returning kick.
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't he do that though? Oh,
that ended his career. I think
he
did
that. But doesn't DeJean do that?
He did that, but that's what ended.
They wanted him to be Dion real quick, and it's like that's a little harder than it looks. But no, when he was playing corner for the Giants, man, cut it out.
Yeah, but then they put him back
long, and he was fast, and nobody thought he was fast. So they kept throwing on him. It's like, no.
So you think he's gonna be Jason Sehorn, huh? So they're gonna be. He might end up having one of the highest selling jerseys in this season. Watch, and whether he only plays on third down or not, he might end up having one of the highest selling jerseys in the NFL this season. That'll be interesting. Cowboys didn't draft a running back. I thought that was odd. Although we now learn that running backs can fall off trees. Apparently, the teams believe. Cowboys not getting one, not even drafting one in 6 rounds. Like, come on, guys, not one running back.
Very strange.
The Bengals drafting Bama wide receiver Jermaine Burton. Have you seen any of Burton? What do you think of Burton? What do you think about that fit?
I haven't seen a whole lot of Burton.
He's solid. He got hands that can run routes.
They are not sure what they're going to do with T. Higgins, so other than franchise him for now. So,
speaking of former Bengals receivers, where does Boyd sign? Where does Tyler Boyd sign?
Not 100% sure, and neither is he.
Cowboys get Zeke back. Is Zeke going to be a factor though? I don't know that Zeke is going to be a factor. And then the Ravs draft Michigan running back Blake Corum.
So who did that?
The Rams.
Oh yeah, and with the running back that was so sensational last year.
That's what I'm saying. I was surprised by that. Like,
yeah,
I was surprised by that.
I can't recall my man's name, but he certainly bailed me out in fantasy a few games. Sure did.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That's right. He missed like 4 or 5 games. Then when he came back, my team caught fire again.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. That's how you.
Oh, you remember too, huh? You still
no,
got the
I know.
I know.
Oh, listen to you. No, I remember. No, I'm trying to figure out what dude's name is. I'm trying to remember what dude's name was, but yeah, he came on late in the season, and for them to go get a running back, like I was surprised by that move. When Corum was on the board, I'm surprised a few people didn't go get him first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they're anticipating a little, thunder and lightning type of combo.
I mean, but Corum's a little guy. What lightning is he bringing?
No, he's bringing the thunder. I mean, for the carries that he's getting.
You think so?
The other dude is the cat that can catch out of the backfield and break tackles and get away.
Yeah, dude was a little shifty guy. Brought speed and everything. Yeah, what is the dude's name?
Yeah, it's now you're making me have to go look, man. It's like Tyrion something.
I want to say something Henry, but I don't think that's right. But yeah, he was a performer. He had some good games. It's just surprising that they would go get a running back after what he would do, after what he did the season he had. I don't know. The Rams running
Yeah, his name was Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams. There you go. Yeah, he was putting in work. He was putting in work. So, who was the best? What was the best fit for the draft? Do you think? Was there a best fit? Was it the Bears getting the receiver and the quarterback? What was the best fit in the draft?
I can't say there was like a particularly great fit. I mean, I guess it would be Alt going to the Chargers. I mean, he's like solidifying that offensive line, and you got, you know, your Pro Bowler coming off an injury at left tackle. I mean,
yeah, I mean that was
the run the ball and protect Herbert. I mean, they certainly did that. I mean,
and they got three receivers. Like one of them got hit. One of them got
being glamorous, but they certainly take care of business. You know.
Yeah. What worst pick of the draft was it? The Falcons taking Penix? Was it the Broncos taking Nix? What was the worst pick in the draft?
Broncos taking Nix, I think. You know, obviously with the 8 pick, I mean, it's awfully high for someone that's not going to play for a couple of years. And I didn't really, I mean, people are saying like the Lathan pick that the Titans made, like maybe they could have traded back and got some picks and still got him. JJ, man. I mean, if he's not who they think he is, man.
Yeah, my next question was the worst team with the worst draft or the biggest reach in the draft, and yeah, Minnesota. But again, from all that's been discussed about JJ, is he has all the tools and he can do things that he wasn't asked to do much at Michigan. Well, now he's going to be asked to do something. And so in the NFL, you can't just hide. Although they have tools at Minnesota.
Skill positions, they have Addison, they got Jefferson, and they got Hawkinson. So I don't need nothing.
Yeah, let's see what you got. Fans, again, thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 290, Cleveland. Each and every week we start off the show with our numbers game. We do this week in history segment. This is a segment that I just want to enlighten the fans, enlighten you guys with some of it's sports. We got some sports content with just general history that often gets forgotten and overlooked. Just give you guys some nuggets of what happened in the past and with our forefathers. Cleveland, on this day, 1867, graciously, the Howard University campus in D.C. was opened, which is the historically black college, obviously HBCU and Howard University. It was graciously opened May 1st, 1867. May 1st, 1950, Gwendolyn Brooks became the first black person awarded a Pulitzer Prize. And that was for poetry, I believe. May 2nd, 1920, Cleveland, the first game of the National Negro Baseball League was played in Indianapolis. May 3rd, 1948, Supreme Court ruled against Shelby versus Kramer that federal and state courts could not enforce restrictive covenants which barred persons, from owning and occupying property because of their race. This is 1948. This ruling was 1948, May 3rd. 1983, Cleveland. 1983, April 30th, 1983. Robert C. Maynard is the first African American with a controlling interest in a metropolitan newspaper after purchasing the Oakland Tribune. That was 1983, April 30th. April 30th, Cleveland, 1992. The Cosby Show featuring Bill Cosby aired its final original episode after an 8-season run on NBC. I didn't even remember that. I mean, I know it didn't go past. It seems like it was on longer than 8 seasons, didn't it? To me,
A little bit, but 92 sounds about right.
yeah, 92 sounds about right. I mean, that's when Different World kind of took off about that time. But it just seems like it, to me, anyways, it ran longer than 8 seasons. April 25th, Cleveland, 1950. Charles Chuck Cooper becomes the first African American drafted by an NBA team. What team was that, Cleveland?
Boston Celtics.
Oh, looks like the floodgates are open, man. 101-74. Dallas Mavericks is up. Luka just driving and dancing into the hole. Oh, they're Dallas. Mark Cuban's ass is old, bro. It was weird to see him in person, man. It was like,
yeah, those 25 years. Yeah, they catch up with you, don't they?
Man, and that facelift just didn't seem to take well. Nor did the hair coloring. It didn't. It looked like he needed to get a touch up. Man, I was like, damn, Mark, like you got a lot of money. Yeah, the kids grew up so fast. It did, but I mean, that's still 8 years. I mean, no, that still felt like a quick run. But yeah, they're all all smiles on the Dallas sideline here tonight. There's Bones Highland getting some run. So yeah, this game.
Okay, it's Highland time. Okay.
Yeah, it's 104-75, 5 minutes ago. So we'll see you Friday night. Charles Chuck Cooper, Cleveland. Moses Walker becomes first black player in the Major League Baseball. This is May 1st, 1884. You heard of Moses Walker?
No.
May 1st, 1991, Cleveland. Nolan Ryan threw his 7th no-hitter. I think he leads all pitchers with no-hitters. May 1st, 1992, Cleveland. A year later, Ricky Henderson stole his 100th base. Cleveland, I got a little hit. Would I say 100? Yeah, 1,000 base. Excuse me. So he obviously leads the majors in history, stealing bases, base stolen. So Cleveland, here's the math I was trying to do. My Excel, my computer guys are acting up tonight. I don't know why. But he stole over 1,000 bases. I think the number actually was 1,400 something bases. He had 1,700 attempts. That means he stole 80% of the bases that he attempted to steal. So I went down a list. He 80.75%. There was one person whose percentage was higher than his. He didn't steal as many bases as he did, but his percentage of attempts or completed stolen bases divided by attempts was higher than his. Any idea who that might have been? Well, there's a couple people higher than him, but one was significantly higher. Any idea?
With a minimum of how many stolen bases?
Well, they only did the top 5. Only did the top 5, so they're in the top 5.
Oh, Maury Wills.
No, they're players that you've seen.
What's that?
These are players that you have seen play.
Oh, Barry Bonds. I have no idea what your stat means. So who are you talking about?
Again, so Ricky Henderson has stole over 1,400 bases.
Okay.
His attempts, he somewhere around. I had to close the page because my computer. but he has 1,700. He had 1,700 attempts. So that averages out to 80% stolen percentage, right? Base stealing percentage.
Okay.
There's two guys who have a higher percentage.
Who are those two players?
Tim Raines has an 84%, and then Vince Coleman has eclipsed him at 80.94. So I just thought that was in it. What I was trying to decide, or I was trying to understand, was sure he had the most bases, but how many times was he successful? He attempted more. He attempted more to steal more bases than anybody by a considerable amount, and then he definitely had more stolen bases than anybody. So I just some interesting. I just wanted to add some context to the number because you see the stolen bases. Okay, you steal some bases, but how often were you successful? I was trying to see. I wanted to do the top 10, but my computer, I don't know what the heck. Cleveland. Candace Parker announced her retirement this week. And what do you think of her? Does Caitlin Clark, can she top Candace Parker's rookie season? You know, they start playing this Friday. At least they start playing the preseason game for the WNBA. Candace Parker, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP, and all NBA, all WNBA award. Can Caitlin Clark? She won't be Defensive Player of the Year, but can she become Rookie of the Year, MVP, all WNBA? Is that potential? Is that possible? You don't think so? I don't think so either. But I mean, that's something for her to shoot for. I mean, we'll see what the turnout is.
It's good to have goals.
Have you put the Indiana Fever, their schedule, in your phone? Are you planning to go see them when they come to?
Not quite just yet. Go see them when they're in Seattle, just because it's such a thing. But nah.
But it's not in your phone quite yet.
No, not on the phone.
Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia this weekend. Cinco de Mayo weekend. Now, you seen Canelo fight John Ritter a couple years ago. John Ritter, you saw him fight him not a couple years ago, last year.
Might as well have been a couple years ago, huh, Cam?
What's that?
So might as well have been a couple years ago, huh, Cam?
I mean,
As uneventful as that fight was, yeah, man.
It went the distance.
This one's going to be uneventful too.
Jaime Munguia.
Biggest thing to come out of this was De La Hoya and Canelo going at it.
Oh, you know about that? Oh, you paying some attention, huh?
I mean, only because that was the only thing to pay attention to. Them two not liking each other.
Jaime Munguia though knocked out Ritter.
Man, anyways, man.
No interest in seeing
Nope.
Canelo Alvarez versus Munguia?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I mean, did you listen to Kendrick, his Euphoria diss track for Drake?
I sure did, and it was pleasant. I mean, he certainly gave it to him. Not quite like Chris gave it to Quavo, but he certainly had some things to say, and Drake better go to the lab, go do your research, go do your studying.
Do you think he has anything?
No.
You don't think he has anything for
No.
For Kendrick? So reports are that Garcia tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug ahead of the Devin Haney fight. What's your thoughts on that? Could that have been done? There you go, Boots. Could that have been the reason he handled Haney so well?
177% could have been a contributing factor to it. Plus he's, you know, I don't know how many pounds heavier and on some stuff on the stuff. Yeah.
On some substance.
Yeah.
So do you give Haney some grace because of that whooping?
No, I mean it was certainly much more of an ass kicking that took place. I mean, you know, but at the same time, I watched Shane and De La Hoya Part 2, and I heard Victor Conte kind of talking about like watching the fight himself and kind of what he saw. Like, ooh, yeah, I saw that too. So it definitely could have been a much more significant factor that I'm making it out to be. But it's certainly something for sure.
Yeah, well, we got to see. I think we need to run another reason they should run that back. That's another good reason to run that back. Cleveland, talk about somebody who doesn't want to run it back, man. Mike Trout, man. I should have threw him in the category for the unluckiest players, man. With AD and KD and Zion. What's your thoughts on Mike Trout, man?
It lets you know how long a 10-year contract can feel like when it's guaranteed. Like, wow, that's an awfully long time. I know it's not a collision sport, but anything can happen. And these last 3 years have not been $35 million worthy. So sorry.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. What's your thoughts on the Orioles sending Jackson Holiday back down?
Yeah,
after going 2 for 32.
Yeah, do that, man.
Will he recover? Will he recover from this?
Hard to say. I mean, it's early, but I mean, you know, they probably brought him along a little bit too soon, and he probably put a little bit too much pressure on himself. So go back down there and feast on AAA pitching, and you know, if there's an injury or an opportunity to come back up, man, come back up and hang out. But we're not going to put the pressure on you to be like, you know, the Messiah, so to speak.
What was Willie Mays? What did he start out? Do you recall?
I do not.
Willie Mays was 0 for 25 before he became the hit king.
Yeah, it's a completely different era. But yeah.
Yeah, much different era. But Willie Mays,
But yeah. Sometimes extreme failure comes with extreme success.
Cleveland, let's give us a Mariner minute. Give us an update on the Seattle Mariners, man. 17-14, 54% winning percentage, 7-10 their last 10 games. What's going on up there? It looks like they're holding off the Metro League from taking over their stadium so far.
Oh, hey, Ken, thanks so much for asking. Yeah, the Mariners have the best pitching staff in baseball, phenomenally.
Best pitching staff in baseball. Just last week, you told me they didn't have no arms.
The Mariners have the best pitching staff in baseball, and phenomenally, in the last 19 games, they have given up 2 earned runs or less. That's the good news. Bad news is they still can't score any runs, and their defense is, you know, average at best. So at present, they're ahead in the American League West. They just took a series from the World Series champions, just took a series from the runner-up in the World Series, and just took a series from the team with the best record in baseball. So, you know, if you project that going forward, quite possibly they should be in the playoffs this season. But we'll see.
So by Seafair weekend, Metro League will be playing in T-Mobile Arena or T-Mobile Stadium.
I mean, not if these arms hold up. If they stay healthy pitching wise, that's not going to be a thing.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. You guys,
I like it.
You guys are too much, man. You two are too much, man. Yeah, you guys are too much, fans. Like I say, each and every week, man, fans, we do something nobody else does for you guys. We play the numbers game at the beginning of the show. We give you our This Week in History segment. Every now and again, this time of year, we're able to play to give you. Every now and then, we're able to give you a Mariners minute. You know, not too often, fans. Don't expect this every week, but we're able to give you a Mariners minute every now and then. Only when they're above 500 can you expect a Mariners minute. But then we end the show with a quote, fans. That again, this is just an inspirational quote. I love quotes. So this is a quote just meant to inspire you guys, and help you guys continue on through your week here. If you need any inspiration, we're here to give it for you, to give it to you. Thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. Let's give Cleveland a round of applause. And give our callers and our listeners a round of applause as well. Give yourself a round of applause for being here, fans. The quote I'm going to leave you guys with tonight is, "You are never a loser until you quit trying." One more time for the people in the back, Cleveland. You are never a loser until you quit trying. Now, thank you, Booth, for tuning in. Yeah, thank you guys, all you guys, fans, tuning in to the Voice of the Fan podcast. Please check out voiceofthefans.org for the article that we was debating about earlier in the show, to get some clarity, and you guys can understand how easily I won that argument earlier in the show. But check out voiceofthefans.org for our content throughout the week. Let's give Cleveland a round of applause for spending time with us tonight. Check for us on our Sunday special. We do our Sunday special every Sunday, not during the football season. So check for us on our Sunday special. We have a recap this Sunday, recap of the Canelo Alvarez fight. I'll give you a recap. Cleveland's not going to watch it. I'll give you a recap of the Canelo Alvarez fight. And maybe, there might be a fight. You tune in. There might be a fight between Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo.
Well, you already know who's going to win that one.
Well, don't be so sure. Boxing is a strange sport. But we got another fight that you're going to have to tune into next month, June. Today's May 1st, June 1st. You're going to have to tune into that one because we're going to have Mike Tyson and Jake Paul going at it. So who's going to win that one, Cleveland?
Jake Paul.
See, that'd be a disappointing fight for much of America if Jake Paul actually wins that fight. Because people are not going there to see Jake Paul win the fight. I can tell you that now. But this is how crazy boxing is. So tune into the show on Sunday. We're gonna have an NBA playoff recap, an update on what's going on. By then we'll know if we're looking at Game 7 for the Clippers Mavericks, or has Ty Lue thrown in the towel? We'll see. We yet to be determined because they're gonna need to win the game on Friday to push it to Game 7, which will probably more than likely be on Sunday. So we still got some NBA series yet to be decided. So tune in to Sunday special. Well, those are a couple things that we'll talk about immediately, and then whatever the top topics are in the world of sports. Thank you guys again for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. And as always, fans, thank you for making our voice your choice.